Oh, welcome back to Final Fantasy 15.3. This is part 11 of my walkthrough. Joining again, Lightning. As she returns to the Ark, we prepare for the final day with a twist.
On this final day, please hear my last prayer.
Yeah, there's a twist to this episode as the final day actually doesn't happen until next week because there's a special secret episode.
This is it. This is the true
that you collect by completing the plant that's got there. You actually unlock the 13th day.
Day 13. That means the end of the world. That's what you said, right?
Yes, but something has changed. I don't quite understand it. The Tree of Life has borne more fruit, and it's glowing with a light that I've never seen before. I'm not sure, but I think this might be the lost time. We're getting it back, here at the end.
What do you mean?
Remember when I told you about the clocks? I told you how they only count to 12 instead of 13. There used to be 26 hours in a day.
But now there are only 24. 2 hours less. And the clocks changed when the chaos was unleashed. You think that the lost time still existed somewhere?
Yes, through a tear in the fabric of space-time, perhaps. But now it's come back, thanks to you. I think it was the XIII Aradia that you harvested. Somehow, you accumulated so much that the distortion in the space-time was repaired, and we got back all those missing hours from the last 12 days.
That's 24 we didn't have. Which means we've been given a reprieve, one more day before God awakens and the final destruction begins. Just the one day. It's not a lot of time.
Yes, but it's enough for what I want you to do. I detected a previously unknown ruin deep in the Dead Dunes. Its appearance coincided with the return of the lost time.
So this unlocks what we class as the ultimate layer. Now, it's a bonus section, it's not important to the game. But it allows you to get some superb ultimate items, and the ultimate layer will consist of you fighting lots and lots of bosses. Now, the trick is these bosses will be the last of their kind. Okay, so every new fight will be the last ever boss. For example, it'll be the last ever character. It'll be the hardest one you can ever face. They'll all be in red. And they'll be super hard to beat, and for that reason you get super good bonuses. Now the way this works is if you beat a boss, you can choose to go up 1 or 2 levels. It gives you the option. Depending on what floor you go on, you get a harder boss in step 4 and 4. Some of these bosses are extremely hard. To give you the full boss list on every floor, I'll give you the information at the bottom of this video. But this isn't crucial to the game, but the actual aspect of getting all these things can be, all these objects and beating these bosses can be quite useful. It will enhance Lightning's abilities, for example. Here's the first level boss, just to give you a rough idea. The first level boss will be the last of the kind of a hoplite, and it'll get obviously harder as you go up. At this point stage of the game, I'm quite enhanced, and virtually I'm ready for this final day, and as you can see I can make short work of hoplite. Not exactly that hard, so he's beaten. Thusly the reward for beating the hoplite, the last of the hoplites, isn't too high. 5 stars there. But that shows you example what it is, but as you go through further on, you'll get harder bosses. It gives me a level 4 counter blow. Not exactly the highest power, but obviously it enhances Lightning's ability. But you go on and so forth. There's another aspect here, a dryad. Proceeding up the way through the levels. As I said, this episode isn't going to go into too much detail about the levels itself. I'm just giving you highlights of some of the bosses therein. The main list of levels will be featured at the bottom. It's much like a free roam dungeon. You can go up and down the levels. You can leave if you need to get potions and stuff, or Phoenix Downs, etc. You can leave this area, or you just leave and then you can walk back in. And you leave the, as it says there, leave the dungeon. You can leave the dungeon, come back in, but you'll come back in at the bottom level. But you can easily skip back up the levels. The room ones you've done will be empty, so you get a free room so you can jump back up again. But all this has to be done within the last day. So you're only given 24 hours to complete the dungeon. It's pretty hard. Some of the higher levels can be really hard. Up near the top floor where I am right now, the current was at 29. There is a final boss. Now this final boss up at the top of the ultimate layer itself is extremely hard. I was quite tight for time, as you can see here. Sitting here at 5, so I had a couple hours. I had purely problems with some of the tricky bosses. You might want to skip a couple of floors if you work out what bosses on what floor. You might want to skip them because it's not worth the fight. It can take you quite a long time to beat these bosses. But you can work it out from the guide I've got for you. Luckily enough, I've mapped the levels out for you. I wasn't too successful on this bonus stage, but you might be different. Might be a bit more different for you. But I thought I'd show you this as a bonus video because it is still pretty interesting to say the least. You can see from here the top couple of levels I've got like the extras. There's no boss in these levels. There's ether. There's like items like ethers and stuff like that, just to powering you up. But this is the actual final level. Now, Iris Gaggle, I think that's how you pronounce it, will chuck everything at you. Pretty much they are quite immune to most powers. So I feel like it take everything you've got to take this thing down. Pretty much if it hits you, it'll hit you hard because it's got some nasty buffs it's got. Makes it virtually invulnerable. I'm looking to see what I can get to power myself up even more because I need something that will enhance my abilities. Because even at my current level, I don't feel like I've got enough impact. I have staggered it, but its attacks can be quite brutal and I can't quite debuff it. I could do with some sort of enhancement. If you have something like has bravery or deeper tech, some sort of buffs on yourself, that would be handy here. Defensively, it can hit you quite dramatically with some nasty powers. You can see there. Take chunks of my HP bar. Even when I stagger it, it's barely causing any damage. I think the only way I could probably beat this thing is using the limit breaks. It's pretty much not got a weakness, but it is, you can hit it with any sort of damage. If you do manage to beat this thing, it will give you a rare drop. So it can be possible to do that. As you can see here, I sped the fight all along a bit because this fight took me quite a while. I was giving it everything I had. I've only managed to take it through halfway. I've seen I barely hit the thing. I had no much choice in the matter. I'd used everything I had against it. I used the limit breaks as well. And I still couldn't take it down. But sadly I had to return to the Ark. I failed to beat the boss. I gave it my best, but...
This is it, Light. There's no more time left. It's the last day of the world.
Right. Vanille will be getting ready to perform the soul song.
She's going to liberate the dead. and release them from their suffering and despair. Hey, Light? When Vanille saves the dead, what will happen to me?
Hope? What's going on?
What about my soul?
Let's hope getting sentimental on the final day. It's a good question, though.
The light of my life, let it be redeemed at last.
And this finally is day 14. It is the final day. Not before a cutscene.
Light,
Hope.
I've come to say goodbye.
How did you...
It's too late for me now. I had a job. I was God's eyes and ears, made to watch over everything you did. But now the last day is here, and God doesn't need me anymore. I'll just disappear. God just doesn't like leaving loose ends. This was always his plan.
Benevelza, he's going to just cast you aside?
It's his way. It's harder than I thought it would be, but he still needs you, and you can help the others. Will you do that for me? Vanille intends to go through with the Soul Song and throw her life away.
But she won't be the only one who dies. That ceremony is gonna destroy all those souls, yet she has the power to lead them to the new world.
Yes. She doesn't know what she is, or what she can do. You have to tell her. I know her. As long as she knows the truth, she'll do the right thing. And then, you'll have a choice to make.
I like how lightning swords floating about a foot away from her back.
I've gotta find her soul if I want to save her. And the truth is, I just can't feel her anymore.
It'll be all right. Trust me. She can see you, and she's been watching over you. When you make the right choice, you'll find her again.
The right choice? Tough call for someone who can't stop repeating past mistakes.
It'll be easy. You just have to imagine what kind of world Sarah would want. What kind of person she wants you to be. Do that, and the answer will be clear.
But that's the problem, don't you see? Maybe once I knew her well enough to know what she would want. Something's happened to my soul. I can't see people's hearts anymore, not even my sister's.
You don't have to give up. Overcoming your mistakes, that's the key. It doesn't matter how many times you fail, if you succeed in the end. So keep trying, okay?
I'm off to a bad start. I didn't make the effort to understand you. I didn't trust you and instead hid everything from you.
No, that was the right thing to do. That wasn't the real me. And he was never someone you should have trusted. He was just a pawn in God's game.
I'm sorry.
Don't be. At least I've had this chance to be myself again, here at the very end. After all that's happened, it's enough. Do you remember when we first met all those centuries ago? Do you remember what you told me then? Keep your eyes front. I'll watch the rear.
But I didn't. I couldn't.
Oh, but you did. More times than you know. As long as you were with me, Light, I didn't have to fear anything.
Well, I took the memory lane with Hope.
I'm not scared. Not even now. Because you're here.
Hope!
Oh. Hope, go bye-bye. That's how to leave you sadness, so. A heart-wrenching story of Final Fantasy. Well, that's time to return to the Ark. When there's no one there.
So, Hope, you've gone and left me behind. Or was it the other way around? Was it me who left you?
Oh wow.
I'll save you.
Ain't a hero, only never a hero till the end of the night. I will save you. Yes, the bad acting is in there. But there's someone new in the Ark. We'll go and talk to them in a sec. You look about the Ark on the last day, you'll find some milestones and gives you more stuff. It's like money more or less you sell there.
What are you doing here?
I can't leave you all alone, Kupo. I have a message for you, Kupo. And here it is. No matter what happens, keep your eyes front.
Uh-huh. And in the meantime, you've got my back, right?
You've got it, Kupo.
Wow. It's a bad day with Mog's got your back.
Kupo?
Well, the thing that's left is to jump in the teleporter.
It's time for the last battle, Kupo.
It is. At the beginning of the final day, Vanille will start to perform the soul song. The ritual will guide the souls of the living to the new world. But the burden will be too much for her. Vanille will die.
She will, Kupo? But that can't happen, Kupo.
She's being used by the Order. She doesn't need to perform the soul song. She has the power to save the souls of the living and dead.
Oh, does that mean she can save Sarah too, Kupo?
I think so. If Hope is telling the truth. If I can grant her wish and make it true, then she'll come back at last. At least that's what he said. But God himself wants Vanille to complete that ceremony. If I stop her, I'll be defying his will. Then I don't know what will happen to Sarah.
I know what Sarah would say, Kupo. She wouldn't hesitate. She'd say, do what's right. Help save all the souls.
Yes, I know. She's always been like that. If someone needs saving, she just goes ahead and does it. No matter how dangerous it is to her.
Yeah, just like your big sister, Kupo. And that's why I'm worried about you too, Kupo.
Don't worry, Mog. I'll be fine. I'm going to do what Sarah would want me to do, what she'd tell me to do. I'll make her wish come true, and she'll come back.
Well, what would be nice for everyone is if I kicked Mog into the stratosphere. But sadly, I have to put up with him for another wee while. Mog may be back, and so will Lightning. Lightning will return next week. We'll continue the story. Lightning returns. Need your roadster.